I am so proud of you.
I was still bumbling.
No, I'm so proud of you. You did it so fast this time. I was
Oh, geez.
you are hilarious. That
I'm
was,
a quick learner.
oh my gosh, that was so funny. I'm like, where is she at?
I like to make an entrance.
Oh my gosh. You know you did that to me at the Shine Awards. I said 6 o'clock. You showed up at 5:59. We were like drinking backstage. Like,
Oh,
oh my gosh.
no.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. This is Kiya Tomlin. We're a little early because we wanted to make sure we could connect. But it's 1:58, so I guess it's okay that we get started, right? Right here. So, welcome to Down with ODD Community Conversations. My name is Orlana Darkins Drewery, and I am the Deputy Director for the Kelly Strayhorn Theater. And I come to you live every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, just for a few minutes to present some of Pittsburgh's movers and shakers. And this program is brought to you by KST Global Stream. So today I'm so excited to welcome fashion designer Kiya Tomlin. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Kiya, I remember way before we met officially that I think you were one of the first businesses to open in that Broad Street kind of mall plaza in Liberty. So why did you choose Liberty? And then how long were you there?
So I chose it. I actually used to work out at a fitness center about a block away. And so I was used to coming to the neighborhood. It's a mile from my house. I could see that the neighborhood had a lot of potential. There really wasn't anything going on yet, but I could see like, oh, this is a cute little neighborhood. I think also not having been from Pittsburgh, I didn't understand, I guess, the history of that area, that it used to be, people would consider it an unsafe area, a scary area. I didn't know any of that. So I'm just looking around like, oh, what a great little, neighborhood plan this is right here. And so the price was great, and, I could afford, put my little business there. And I loved the space I was in. I think the building I actually used to go to a hair salon in that building years before then. And so, like I said, I've always been comfortable going to the neighborhood, so I didn't think anything of it. And then the space that I ended up leasing was just an awesome space with floor to ceiling windows and a loft. And it was just someplace that I really thought I could enjoy being there all day. And even though I hadn't planned on being open to the public, it was just a private kind of design studio, just maybe meeting, clients here and there. So I wasn't really concerned about the lack of foot traffic or, as I started to understand that people were still a little skeptical of the area, that it didn't concern me because it wasn't like it wasn't a mall to me.
Right.
But yeah, so I was there for 5 years.
Okay. And so how long were you and Mike in Pittsburgh before you opened your business? Because you were here for a while before you even started.
Yeah. We moved here in 2007. I started my business from home in 2010. And then I was at home for a year or two, to maybe I think I moved into there. You know what? It was 2014, because that's when I started doing the ready to wear line and hired my first employee. And I remember I couldn't afford her. And so I kept like stalling and trying to put her off, like, well, I'm just moving into a new space and it's not ready yet, when really it's just I couldn't afford like to pay her minimum wage to work a couple hours a week. So that was 2014.
So that was your first location.
Yes.
Obviously you learned how to hire your first employee. So what other lessons did you learn from being in a brick and mortar? Because you were running a business, but you were also actively designing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really I can't say that I went into it with a plan. Everything kind of evolved. And this is probably a poor business person attitude to take, but I've always been, mom. and at-home mom. And so, but I always had passions of my own. And so I always just had to create what I wanted to do around raising my kids and around their schedules. And so I was, not the typical business person, and I worked weird hours. I'd close the store if I had to go somewhere. Really just kept it kind of flexible. And fortunately, I was able to do that. I really just needed to make enough money to stay open. Fortunately, I didn't have to put food on the table for a family of 5 because it wouldn't have happened. We'd have been hungry. So yeah, I think that it kind of evolved. And when it was just a private studio, I came and went as I wanted. When I opened it up into retail, that's when I, had to somewhat be there. I mean, there were plenty of times when I put a sign on the door and be like, sorry, closed today. But I also still work the hours around my kids' schedules and really prioritize that. And same thing. We've never had like tons of customers. So I didn't really, prioritize that, I guess.
So everyone that's joining now, my name is Anna Darkins Drewery. I am the deputy director of Kelly Strayhorn Theater. You tuned into Down with ODD. I'm talking to fashion designer Kiya Tomlin. So Kiya, obviously your last name is Tomlin. So has that, in being a business owner, fashion designer, has that helped or has that hindered?
It's both. It's honestly both. When I first started, I hated the association and tried to really downplay it because I didn't want to feel like I was riding on that and, she's just, is one of those real housewives that, thinks she can start a fashion line and it's just because of who her husband is. So I really downplayed that. As years went by and having, experienced how competitive the fashion industry is, I did start to open up to I don't want to say that I openly using like Tomlin all over the place, but like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And if that will get your foot in the door and get you noticed, I got to take there's pros and cons.
Right.
So if I have to deal with the cons, I might as well deal with the pros too.
Right.
Yeah. I will say that when I first moved into the East Liberty space, people were so excited that they thought they could buy Steeler stuff, and they were coming around going, "Where's the Steeler stuff? Where's the Steeler stuff?" And I was like, "Dude, like, go to the mall. Like, there's plenty of Steeler stuff. I don't need to design Steeler stuff." But then over the years, they wore me down, and now I design our game day collection.
Because and you may not remember this conversation. Probably my second time at your boutique. I was trying on clothes and we're talking. And I'm like, girl, you better use that. Like, are you crazy? I'm out here rubbing 2 sticks together. And you got a platform. But your clothes are awesome.
Thank you.
Maybe 4 pieces. Mm-hmm. They're super soft, super comfortable. When I first started, I've been at Kelly here. Mm-hmm. We had a major event, I would always wear my power romper.
Yes.
Point that they were like, we know what you're going to wear. I had to start changing my outfit.
That outfit is the best thing because like I wear it every time I have to go make an appearance, but I don't feel like getting dressed. Like that's the best thing to put on.
But you dress it up or dress it down. Yep. It's so comfortable. But yeah, because every photo, like we take photos all the time. I'm always in the power romper. So crazy. So you're no longer in East Liberty. You have a new location.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Okay, so I left East Liberty and moved to Etna for really the main reason was over the course of the time that we had been in East Liberty, we had some ups and downs, and we went from having our garments produced manufactured in New York City to having to do them in-house. Really not part of my overall plan, but we had some problems, and so we brought it in-house, and we're handling it that way, and realized that we enjoyed making it ourselves and being able to control how much we produced, not overproducing, not wasting fabric, and not knowing how much fabric was left behind at the factory that we spent money on and that would never get back. And so I had for 2 years of that 5 years, the last 2 years, I was leasing a warehouse space in Homewood in the X Factory building, and that's where we were manufacturing out of. But my staff was so small. I mean, I had one full-time employee, and we, on and off with a couple part-time and some interns, that we couldn't manage both the store and the factory. And so my vision was to get a space where we could do everything in one place. And so we didn't have to close the store if I needed to work at the factory or not get stuff done at the factory because something was going on at the store. So we found a building in Etna. It's just under 6,000 square feet, just a wide open space. Used to be an artist's workspace right on the little main strip in Etna. So it's the same kind of thing. It's like a neighborhood that needs a little love, just like East Liberty. Because I don't know, I just feel like I want to come in and maybe make an impact, and not to mention the price is always a little better when you do that. So that's where we are now, and it's all in one open space where we made the front of the space is the retail, and you can shop, we do alterations, all that stuff, and then it's an open floor plan, a little bit of dividers where we manufacture in the back. And so you can see what we're doing. We give tours. We show people the whole process of how things are made if they're interested. We do the alterations on site. If you buy something and you need it hemmed, and most likely we'll do it right then while you sit there. So that's where we are in Etna right now.
Oh, so you got a question. Someone wants to know your address.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 388 Butler Street. So right off of Route 28, exit 4. It's usually like when people get stuck in traffic on 28 and they try to dodge the traffic, they'll get off at exit 4 to cut through Etna. If you do that, you'll pass my space. So we've got great visibility.
I was like, no. So I'm a stereotypical Pittsburgher, where if you have to go across a bridge or something, I'm like, it was perfect for me when you were in East because I worked at Mount Ararat Church. I'm now at Kelly Strayhorn Theater. Like, I could walk there.
Yeah.
Then I see Etna, and I was like, oh, and it's not even that far.
Yeah. No, it's really close. And I had never even heard of Etna before. And when the building came up, I'd been working kind of casually with a realtor, just kind of with the idea of I'd love to, get a building. And when the building came up, the pictures, I was like, this is perfect, and I got here and I'm like, I love it. Where's Etna? Where are we?
Right. Well, space. I mean, I obviously haven't been there because it's in Etna, but I'm going to go because it's really not that far. I think it's like from East Liberty, like 15, 20 minutes away. It's not
even. It's like from East Liberty, it's like 2 miles.
Really?
Yeah. If you go straight down Highland to the zoo.
Yes.
And then just go across the next bridge and we're right there. Yeah.
Oh. Maybe I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, no, you must be going the wrong way because we're like across the river from the zoo.
I'm going the scenic route. So you have the store. So the store is called Kiya Tomlin Boutique?
Workshop. It's called Kiya Tomlin, and to play on words, work/shop, because we work here and we shop, and you can shop here.
Okay. So how has COVID played an impact? Because you have the store, but you also have a robust online presence too. How has COVID affected you at all?
Yeah. So, and I have a really small, I only have 4, there's 4 of us that work here. So when we closed down, I sent everybody home. And since I live closest, everybody else lives, a decent distance away. We still do online orders. I did run a really big sale. We don't do a lot of sales, but I ran a 25% off sale for the whole month, plus March and all of April. And so whenever orders are placed, then I just come in myself and I pack up the orders and ship them. Another thing we did was when we got shut down, we hadn't finished producing the spring summer collection. We had like two more styles to go. And then we go back and do some refills because we just produce in such small numbers. So I said, you know what, I don't know that anybody's going to be shopping. Let's just go ahead and put those styles up there. If anybody buys them, I'll come in and make them. And so I do. Like if somebody buys like the sheet shirt or the That's a Wrap romper, you might have to wait an extra day because I have to come in and cut it and sew it.
Wow.
I
never knew that these clothes were made fresh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So one of the cool things about bringing the manufacturing in-house instead of sending it out to New York, Because normally when you send to a factory, they make you make, you must make 300 of shirt A. Well, if 300 of shirt A doesn't sell, I'm stuck with it. And we've had that happen before. So now that we do it in-house, what we do is when we produce each style for a new style, we'll only do 3 of each size in each color. So shirt A, there's 3 small white, 3 medium white, like that. And then we see how they sell, because maybe the smalls sell out, and so we'll make 3 more whites, but maybe the larges don't. And so we've only wasted 3 that'll sit there. It's not like we've got 100 of them that no one's going to buy. And if the style is a complete bust and nobody buys the small run that we did, then all that fabric that we have, we just create a different design and try that instead of having to sit on unwanted stuff.
Okay. I didn't know that. I really appreciate my stuff.
Yes.
You got to shout out Mrs. Wait a minute. Hopefully I don't disconnect this. I'm scared. Mrs. Howard 28 says, love my Kiya Tomlin wear.
Thank you. And we do offer repairs too. So if you buy something and something happens, or you want to change a hem length or whatever, just bring it back. We do it.
I know. And I want to shout out your Christmas sale. I did take advantage of that.
Oh, thank you.
That was awesome. So you and your husband, you're very active in the community, whether people know this or not. You're very active in the community. You guys really don't promote that hard. But one of the things that you're doing during this time of crisis, that you are helping those that's medical clinicians. You're making masks.
Mm-hmm.
If I read correctly, you're making 400 masks a
day.
Yeah.
So that was not the original plan. The original plan was we had gotten shut down, and so I was committed to paying my employees because like they rely on me. So I'm like, I'm going to pay them. I'm going to pay you, not thinking it was going to go quite this long. But as we're sitting there, and like maybe the first couple days, I kind of enjoyed being home, and laying around watching TV, watching the news on loop. But I kind of started to get annoyed, like, man, I'm paying these people like to do what I'm doing, to like lay around. And so I was like, you know what, we can. Oh, and as I was like, watching the news on loop, somebody had sent me a text message, like copy that a hospital in, I think it was Evansville, Indiana or someplace, was doing like a call out for all home sewers. They needed masks, and they sent out a pattern. We need masks. Can you make these? Blah, blah, blah. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, I wonder if Pittsburgh needs that. And, that's something that we could do easily, and we could do it from home. So I made some calls and got connected with Allegheny Health Network. And we, spent about a week or so kind of discussing the need. And at the time in Pittsburgh, there wasn't like the crazy need that you see in New York. And I don't know that we've had that, or hopefully won't get that. But they were like, you know what, let's like go ahead and plan for this as a worst case scenario. We can kind of suit up our, the auxiliary hospital workers that maybe aren't in direct contact with the patients. So that would free up some of the, N95 masks to use for the, the direct contact doctors, and then maybe like food staff, those type of people, office workers, and they could have these other masks as backups. And so I was like, okay, well, my team will do, we'll do 500 a week, and I thought that was kind of like, take a couple hours of their day. My workers get to spend a couple hours, doing something. And the need, like once people heard what we were doing, the requests came from all over the country. From like we had a hospital, military hospital unit in Virginia, and people in California. I mean, really, it was just all over. So police forces, fire stations, food banks, of course, hospital nursing entities. I mean, just everything you can imagine. And so we didn't want to turn anybody away. So we just made more. And so, yeah, we were up to doing 400 masks a day, between all of us. And that's a lot.
Yeah. And I saw on your Instagram, and I went on your website, that you guys were also getting personal requests.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But are you able to balance both? Like
there was no balance. No. So we've actually since once the governor, and I guess nationally, they started recommending the masks be worn in public. That's when the when we really had to kick it in, because people, the public, they were nervous and scared, and people, and they couldn't, no one had masks and no one could buy masks, but they knew that we were making them. And so we got requests from everywhere. And so we said, you know what, we'll go ahead and sell masks at, what we thought was an affordable price, but that also allowed us to be able to purchase the fabric and the elastic and the time, the labor that my staff was putting in to donate the masks. Because until then, it was just all coming out of pocket. Like we were each taking turns going to the fabrics, ordering from the fabric store and picking up out of our own money. So this way we could have a little, extra contribution to be able to continue funding that. And yeah, but the sales were like through the roof. And so we actually had to cut off sales after about a week.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that the purchase of a mask was going to sponsor a mask, to donate a mask to help workers.
Yeah. So I know that, I hate to say, but there were probably people that were a little disappointed in like knowing the quality of the clothing that we produce, that maybe the masks weren't quite up to their expectation. And I think I got 2 emails, but people mentioned that, it might have been 1 or 2. And really I had to explain that, like, we're doing this from our kitchen table at 14 hours a day, really just trying to get these masks out there to provide, a service for people. I know they're not up to our normal quality, but we appreciate the contribution that you're making towards the healthcare workers. And once I phrased it that way, then people were like, oh yeah, it wasn't like we were trying to make a profit off of it. We were really just trying to, you people need it, we're going to get it to you, and the money that you pay for it, we're going to use it to get to these healthcare workers. So we did shut down the private sales because we couldn't keep up with the private sales plus the donations, and the donations was the main reason we got into it. So we're still getting requests, and I think now that Matt, you can start buying masks elsewhere at every price point range, whatever you will want to pay. I think we will move more into creating masks that are more in line with our fashion aesthetic, and they'll be better quality, but they'll be higher priced than the ones that we were doing. But I think that's where we're going to move next.
And again, thank you for everyone that's joining in. I'm Orlando Darkins Drewery, talking to fashion designer Kiya Tomlin. Kiya, I saw on your Instagram that you received a call that healthcare workers, medical clinicians are also in need of headbands.
Yes.
So you're making those too. You're making those and donating headbands.
Yeah, the only things, we're not doing the ones, I know people have asked for the headbands with like the buttons on them so you could like loop it over. We just don't have the buttons and the time to, like, I'm sorry, you'll have to figure out how to rig that. But we're providing the headbands to keep the hair out of faces so that they don't, like, I guess there was a problem with you're touching things and then you're like moving your hair out of the way, and so for contamination's sake. So yeah, and that's pretty neat, because that we can use our regular collection fabric for that. We've got piles of scraps of fabric that we always try to repurpose, and so this is just one more way that we can repurpose it without it going to a landfill. Yeah.
Okay. And I had one more question that just escaped me. Darn it. I lost it. All right. So anyway, fashion designer. I know what it was. So between the mask, making headbands, you mentioned it's U.S. workers. How many people?
So there's four of us, and I call a half. My daughter is a half. So she can sew, and she sewed some masks on the first day. But with school and, her little lack of, their interest wanes, but she's a good, fabric clipper, ironer, thread clipper, which is really helpful.
So that's a lot of masks for only 4 people.
Yes. Yeah.
And then plus any other garment make if someone orders it online.
So yeah, I am working my butt off.
You're putting in work.
I need a vacation from this. Yeah, I keep saying I need a vacation from the coronacation.
Yeah, that is crazy. So you're a very successful fashion designer, and I've seen in magazines where you would post like, oh my God, this person's wearing my clothes. Are you as surprised as you seem, or are you like sending people your stuff saying, hey?
So a little bit of both. I did work with a PR company for a little bit. I was disappointed because it doesn't really it doesn't increase sales. So it's cool to have like a celebrity wear your stuff, but it doesn't do anything for my, level of sales. But it's, like I said, still cool. Then other times, like, people have just found us. I want to say, like, our pants that were on Grey's Anatomy, that, like, they just called and had ordered them and said they were going to be on the show. And so it's a little bit of both. And then even some of the things that maybe went through our PR company, they send stuff out, but you may never ever hear from those people. You don't see the garments again. So if they, like, I think Tyra Banks had on a pair of our pants recently, given her stylist had requested stuff from us right before her photo shoot, where she did the 20-year CoverGirl swimsuit edition or whatever. And so we had sent up a bunch of stuff they requested, and like nothing seemed to work, whatever. And then, a while later, months later, we see her in the pants for something totally different. So that was like really cool. You kind of give up hope and like, oh, they didn't like it, didn't work, whatever. So
you have let me see, you have a question in the comments. Someone wants to know, do you have an example of one of your masks just happened to be around you?
Oh, so this is a new one that I was working on and just wearing around. So we had I had another one. I don't know. Okay. I had like a basic pleated one. I don't know where that went. It's probably in my car. Keep one in my car. This is I really like the muzzle style ones.
Cute. All that hair.
Yeah. So this is the ones that we're getting ready to move into.
Nice. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Christopher says, thank you for taking time to do this interview.
Oh, fun. You're welcome.
So one last question. I'll let you go, because since we now know you have a bunch of sewing to do.
Yeah. I have three things that people ordered that are cut and ready to go. Yeah. Now.
So any advice for anyone who's interested in being a fashion designer and owning their own business?
I would say get a business education. And the hardest part. I said get a business education. I think that's been what I struggled with the most, is learning all the business aspects. Like I think a lot of people that are interested in fashion design really underestimate the selling of the stuff. And you can't do what you love to do if you can't sell the stuff, because then you have no money to do what you need to do. It's, if you make it, just because you make it does not mean they're going to come buy it. So, and even if it's good, like I think our stuff is great, but we have to put so much work into getting on people's radars and enticing them and making, selling enough to keep the business up and running and growing. And, I can't afford to buy fabric for next season if not enough people purchased from last season. So, so definitely the business, sales, marketing, and design.
All right, very good. Well, Kiya, thank you so much for taking time. I really appreciate it now, because now that all these masks and headbands, online orders you're doing, girl, like, I'm taking time out to talk to me. And your business, Kiya Tomlin Workshop, is in Edna. I will visit now that you told me the short way to get there. Only 7 minutes away. What's the address again?
It's 388 Butler Street.
And your website is kiyatomlin.us?
Yes, correct. .us. It used to be .com, but don't you know, I lapsed on the payment and somebody stole it, and now they're trying to charge me $3,000 to get it back.
Oh,
I'm not having it.
I was wondering why you had US, but then I thought, well, maybe she did. This is what I actually thought. I thought, well, maybe she did it on purpose because she's worldwide. Like you're.
That's what I say is the reason. But really, somebody done bought up my .com. Like, why are you gonna buy KiyaTomlin.com?
Girl, I gotta teach you how to do auto renew.
I know. See, that's a lesson learned. I learned my lesson though.
Right. I know, it's cool. So KiyaTomlin.us. You can also follow her at Kiya Tomlin. And you can follow me every Wednesday here on KS Theater on Instagram. Every Wednesday at 2:00, I am interviewing a mover and shaker in our city. So Kiya, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Now I learned a new skill, how to get on Instagram Live.
Thank you everyone for joining us. See you next Wednesday at 2.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.